like for a reason as well, not just motivate myself to do it at home. That's the best bit. That's the most exciting part of the training that I've been doing recently. Basically only just recovered. I'm like, yeah, let's do hollow bags again. Really overcomplicated that. Anyway. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK and founder of morethanlifting.com, and in this episode we're going to be talking about deloading, we're going to be talking about mobility stuff and fixing pattern faults, okay? And it's going to be quite interesting, I guess. Basically, I've been on the deload for my training. If you've been keeping up with the podcast, then you already know what's going on, but I'm not going to repeat it. Just go and listen back. There's plenty of episodes of my recent struggles. So I've been deloading, but I've only had like a 3 or 4 week strength cycle because I'm trying to squeeze a lot in before the end of the year, as we all know. So I've had like a brief deload quick, and in that time I've really been just slowing it down. Basically, I've, instead of doing a lot of strength training, I've done little to none. I've done some like advanced push-up stuff and just like fiddling around, but it's mostly been just handstands, mobility stuff, and I've also been doing a lot of fixing of movement patterns, particularly pistol squat, all right? Because I injured my ACL. I actually snapped my ACL when I was a kid, a teenager, and yeah, so my knee, especially with my pistol squat, I have a problem because my knee comes right in, and I lack that kind of stability. My knee is something I really need to work on. I need to be focused on, and like it's easy to let slip, stuff like that. And really, in the deload, I've been really focusing on going back to basics with stuff and really stripping all the movements back, and that is a big part of it. Looking for those little imbalances, little problems with muscle activation, mobility, and like all that kind of stuff that affect and often cause injuries when you get onto weighted or higher level exercises that really push the boundaries, you know? So yeah, anyway, so basically we've started talking about this. We'll dive straight in here, eh? So like I was saying, pistol squat particularly, I've really been focusing on improving this because like I can do pistols, but I know it's not the strongest. Yeah, and for me, it's very important to have a stable knees, and that really comes from having stable hips because that's where the root of the movement is. It's that the starting point, isn't it? The main joint in your lower body. It's the same with your shoulder. Is like the foundation, the starting point of all your upper body movements. So is the hip, your hips, the lower part, you know? So, fucking hell, I'm really overcomplicated that. Anyway, so that's what really matters. Pistol squats, particularly because you're putting a lot of stress on the knee, on your hip, it's all your weight on one leg, and it's a lot of mobility involved in a pistol squat as well, especially if you're doing proper, like decent range of motion where you go past 90 degrees and really down to the floor as far as you can. So yeah, great book to check out, Become a Supple Leopard by Starrett. I've been going through a lot of the exercises just that he's got in that book. It's just a great one for like information for yourself on how to stay healthy and move in a functional and like actually move properly. So you're not so you're activating your muscles properly, you're stable, and you're able to move in a way that isn't putting yourself in weak positions that you can potentially injure yourself with, especially if you are doing weights or stuff when things get loaded, you know what I mean? And this also matters a lot with things like handstand push-ups and stuff like that, where you're doing like an overhead press, but you're just doing it upside down. And if your arms or your shoulders aren't activated properly, you can really, really do some serious damage to your shoulders. And we don't want any of that, basically. So if you are looking for something to get yourself for Christmas, definitely get yourself this book. It's amazing. It is like 30 quid or something, so you might think that's quite expensive, but the actual information, he's got programs in there for all of his exercises, going through like correct hip activation and positioning, and it's really is amazing. The depth that he goes into is just fantastic. So get that anyway. But I've been working on my pistol squats, so what I've been doing is just using a chair, and I've been really focusing on keeping my weight in the right place and really activating my hips and getting my knee and my foot positioning right, and doing a lot of the exercises that he recommends in that to help build that stability and kind of isolate different elements of your of that joint so that you can activate the muscles properly and create, like, fix the pattern, basically fix any kind of pattern faults. So it's been a lot of pistol squat stuff. So I've been working on really low range of motion, like going down onto chairs. I've been practicing just getting balanced and getting stable right at the bottom. So I'm like basically like seated on the floor with one leg out, and I go up onto that, like my right leg, and then I come back down into a seated position. I go onto the left leg, or I start kind of in a really deep squat, and then I just stick one leg out and shift my way onto one leg and then come back. So I'm squatting the whole time. And I've been doing things like that, different variations of that kind of stuff. Really working on, like I was saying, low range of motion pistols. So I've been using a chair at first, and then I went down to my exercise ball, which only takes me to, it takes me just below 90 degrees, I guess. And I'm not sitting down or like anything like that. I'm keeping my weight. I'm just going down to touch it, making sure I'm stable, like making sure I feel strong in that position, my knees in the right place. Like I really feel like there's no excess pressure or like, or anything's being kind of relied on too heavily, not particularly my knee. For the movement. So yeah, basically just fixing stuff, which is really boring. I know I tried to make it sound interesting, but it isn't really. And it's just one of those things that is important to protect yourself for the longevity of your body. You don't want it to like start breaking on you all of a sudden, start wearing out. So that's really important. Other than that, mobility stuff, more exciting mobility stuff, hips, shoulder mobility, and yeah, just the kind of standard stuff you do. I've been covering some stretch classes and stuff recently as well, so I've been actually having the opportunity to sit down and just stretch for an hour, like for a reason as well, not just motivate myself to do it at home, because it's quite difficult to. I'm not particularly excited about doing splits or anything personally, so I don't really think about that as an exciting workout. To do at home, it tends to be like you need to be quite motivated to do it, because otherwise you just fuck it off, don't you? Let's be honest. So just saying, yeah, I'm going to sit down and practice stretching. Practice stretching. I'm just going to do some stretching for an hour. I'd much prefer to do some handstand stuff. Because you just would, wouldn't you? Well, I do anyway. So speaking of which, handstand skills. So I've been working on my splits and my stags, and like just basically going into a bad kind of arched back position in the handstand. And I keep feeling like I'm tempted to go back into hollow back stuff. I really don't want to risk injury in my shoulder or my wrist again. At least not for a while. I only just recovered. I'm like, yeah, let's do hollow backs again. No. So I've been doing the minimum viable, which is like front splits and front stags and double stags or whatever it's called. You know, they like those kind of variations. They just get a bit silly with the names, but it's good fun anyway. And just practice going from straight into like a stag or a front split. And then I've really been working with different handstand positions as well, like single leg ones and single leg switches, and just focusing on being able to transition quick in handstands and transition slowly in handstands, which is just good practice to help improve your stability and control, basically. And so that's really exciting. That's the best bit. That's the most exciting part of the training that I've been doing recently. And it has been fun. So gotta love handstands. Speaking of gotta love handstands, some people at the classes have been doing really well recently. So if any of them listen, I doubt they actually do. But if you do, shout outs to you guys, because you're all awesome. And yeah, that's it. Otherwise, I've been doing just a little bit of planche stuff, because I know it's a deload and like I shouldn't be doing stuff, and the skill cycle's just about to start. But you know, I still kind of want to. So I've to limit myself with planche stuff, I've just been sticking to like a grease the groove type training method, which is basically where you do like loads throughout the day rather than just one like workout session. You like spread it out, so you always approach it with like full energy and full like capacity. And yeah, so the thing is, I can't do it all day, so I tend to just do it in the evening, like 3 or 4 times, with like hour, or you know, however the interval splits up. I'm not too like aggressive with it or strict. you know me. So yeah, that's about it really. I mean, deloads, there's nothing particularly exciting to say about it. I'm feeling pretty good though. Well, actually, I kind of feel a bit weak because I've had the time off, but it's been good to do the mobility stuff and work on my handstands. They have been improving a lot, which is just nice to see, because it's easy for handstands to slip a little bit as well if you just don't end up doing them for a while. So, and fixing that coordination fixing the wrist and waiting for that to happen. It's obviously meant I've spent a lot of time out at the handstand, so there is a lot of room for improvement just because of general regression over time plus injury. And anyway, I sound disheartened then, or I feel like I do, but I'm not. There's no problem there. They'll be back to full strength in no time at all, so it's really no issue. I'm really looking forward to starting the skill cycle though, because I'm just itching to do loads of isometrics. It sounds silly, but when you're just doing strength stuff, you're just doing the basics more or less, so it gets a bit tedious after a while, seeing pull-ups and seeing dips and seeing leg raises again, and you just want to do something a bit more fun. But we'll talk about that in a couple of episodes anyway. Otherwise, guys, deloads are boring, but you kind of got to do them because otherwise you risk overtraining and injuring yourself, or just plateauing, which is even worse, I think. Yeah, so guys, that is it for this episode. If you like what you heard, as always, just give us a shout out, subscribe, share us with your mates, honest 5-star rating and reviews, wink wink, and yeah, at More Than Lifting everywhere. Best place to DM me is just Instagram. Otherwise, yeah guys, I will catch you in the next one. As always, keep in touch with yourselves, and yeah, I'll see you then.